Hi, everybody. I'm back to fill you in on some things I noticed that are important about this journey, and I wanted to share it with everyone. My hope is to help as many of you as I can. I care, and I don't want any of you to suffer unnecessarily. So last video I shared my toothache story, and it's better, but did you know that antibiotics are really hard on your gut biome? They cause all kinds of problems, and one of the things is anxiety. I didn't realize this. I didn't know it. No one told me. Doctors don't tell you this. But anxiety, depression can cause all kinds of things. It's really interesting. I don't think. I think I'm going to try to find a different way to deal with things as far as infections go and being sick, because I don't like the idea of what antibiotics do. They just give them out to us, and they don't tell us, how to fix our gut biome as we're taking them, or what to eat. They don't say anything about that, which is kind of funny. So they cause all kinds of problems. And one of the things is anxiety. And I took them for 8 days. So about 6 days in, I started feeling the adrenaline again. I started questioning myself and, of course, panicking. I started going downhill. I was thinking I was losing that foothold and all my progress. I was trying too hard to figure it all out. All the whys. I had so many great days, and I started to think it was gone. So, first big mistake, and stress is never going to be gone. I started doing research, and I was kicking myself once again that I was even Googling, because I felt like I was assurance seeking, and I don't like that. But I learned that antibiotics can cause excess adrenaline because your body is working so hard. Anxiety can cause anxiety. Antibiotics can cause anxiety, and other mental health issues, primarily by disrupting the gut-brain microbiota axis, the biome. I'm not saying that right. By killing beneficial bacteria, they alter the production of the neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, and they damage the vagus nerve mediated connection between the gut and the brain, which can lead to anxiety, depression, and cognitive dysfunction. This doesn't mean it happens to everyone, but when your nervous system is still really sensitive from a stress overload, that can feel really intense, even if it's just a small amount of physical discomfort. And also, it's important to remember that it's common for adrenaline to surge as stress builds, though the way it builds up is more about repeated surges than a single slow accumulation. And adrenaline is designed for immediate fight or flight survival. Modern chronic stress can cause your body to release it too frequently, leading to a state of constant physical arousal. And although you feel the adrenaline emotionally, it is basically rooted in physical stress. It's not a failure in your recovery process. Like the infection that I had in my tooth caused hyperstimulation, which is when the nervous system becomes overreactive due to physical or mental stress. This is not a real danger, but a psychological reaction that is temporary and reversible. So we really need to find a time every week to calm ourselves in this crazy world. We need to meditate if that's your thing, or sit quietly and watch the sunset. I don't know, just ways to let the stress roll right through us and fuck off. But I realized I was under a lot of stress because of my tooth. I mean, the dentist dropped several words that freaked me out. Who's not scared of the dentist? There was some root canal suggested, caps, just all those lovely things. And also, we need to pull that. So anyway, Also, I was having all these crazy thoughts that I would end up in the hospital because the antibiotics wouldn't work. On and on. My brain was just making up all these scenarios, and I was in a lot of pain in the beginning. So, um, yeah. So, understandably, my body started releasing adrenaline that now needs to burn itself off, right? Whether it's pent up emotions that you have to let pass through or built up stress, the word let is extremely important. Let it pass, let it burn off. No fighting, no resisting, no changing it, letting it. Letting it be, letting it pass. And once I realized this again, it began to fade. It began to release. Release doesn't have to be this great grand finale. It just needs to be felt, and you need to know you're safe. When you go from, oh my God, why is this happening, to let go of this adrenaline that's built up because of stress, your reaction goes from fear to just letting it pass. If you try this, you can possibly stop this ridiculous cycle of unnecessary pain, get back in the saddle again, and keep moving forward. I was backpedaling last week until I realized adrenaline is adrenaline. It builds up from stress, and although it feels like shit, we keep moving forward. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. When you hear it whispering in the background, don't give into frantic worry. Be rational in that moment. Remember that there is a reasonable explanation why you're having adrenaline dumps, why you're second guessing yourself. Adrenaline does that, right? Stress can cause even a small amount of adrenaline to drop, and sometimes a little feels like a lot. Then it passes. Catch yourself second guessing and tell yourself, this is here because I've had a stressful week. I've been worried about a lot of stuff. Let it burn itself out of your body. Just by letting it be there, it does that. Exercise burns it off. A walk can burn it off. But most importantly, it's your reaction to it. If you look at it and know its cause, you can let it go instead of reacting in fear. And don't get me wrong, that feeling makes me say, oh no, here we go. I stop talking to myself. I stop telling myself all these stupid things and just say it's just stress and adrenaline, and I get on with my day. And in the background, my body is doing the work by getting rid of the adrenaline. And in the meantime, I'm doing my best to move forward and realize stress is normal, and there will be days of this because life is stressful. But we're getting stronger, you and I. So I just wanted to jump on here real quick and say that this is like an onion. You're peeling the layers off. You have to keep moving forward. I know my last video I was talking about compulsions, and it's very important to when it comes to compulsions, letting them go. And when I had that realization, that really helped me. And then I was doing so good, and I did let go of my compulsions. I was just not thinking about it, not worrying about it. And then my tooth. So basically, the mental thing, I dropped the compulsions, and that really, I was doing really good. And that works. You have to stop trying to change. Stop trying to change everything. But then the tooth and the antibiotics started causing the physical, the adrenaline. And once that started, I was just having physical. And for a couple days in, I was like, okay, I was doing pretty good. I was realizing, this, but then having the physical over and over and over again, every day, I started going, oh my God, what's happening? Until I realized that this was out of my control. It was the stress that built up the adrenaline, and it was the antibiotics that was helping. And I am letting it burn off. Every time I feel it, since yesterday, I stopped taking the antibiotics on day 8. And I just have been telling myself, okay, this is adrenaline. Let it burn off. Just like feeling your emotions, just like anything else, just let it be. And I'm getting back on my feet again. I don't like it. But I also have to realize that stress is part of life. And if I freak out every time I have stress, throughout the rest of my years here, if I freak out every time I have stress, that is you reacting, and your reaction is very important. Don't react to it in fear. When I tell myself it's just adrenaline, it kind of goes back to the background, and I just keep doing what I'm doing, and then I just let it burn off. So now we're almost 11 minutes in, but I just want to get on here really quick and tell you guys, I'll give you guys a little more advice. Um, don't react in fear. Nothing's going to happen. You're safe, and everything's going to be okay.